Today I'm going to show you how to make relish. You can make relish out of just about any vegetable. I think traditionally we think of cucumbers when we think of relish that you put on your hot dogs, that type of thing. But my last batch of relish was made almost entirely with bell peppers. I don't know if you can see the amazing color in that. The flavor is just awesome. So today I'm going to use yellow squash from the garden. I'm going to need about 8 cups, either diced up or ground, so probably 6 or 7 this size will produce that much. One thing that I want to add when you are cutting your vegetables to put in to any type of pickling or canning, you want to make sure and cut that blossom end off because there are enzymes in it that will cause it to get mushy and soft in the jar. Also, I'm going to add some bell peppers just for flavor, probably 3 or 4 of them. And then a couple of onions. I need about 2 cups total. And then I'm going to use white sugar along with vinegar. I would use apple cider vinegar at different points. This is fine, whatever vinegar you prefer. Pickling salt. And then my spices, which are going to include pickling spices. It's just a mix of cloves, mustard seed, allspice, that type of thing. I'm going to put a little more ground mustard in it just to have some more flavor and color, as well as turmeric, and maybe throw some more celery seed in. So I'm going to get started grinding. Today I'm going to use my KitchenAid, which has a nice attachment that goes on it that grinds the stuff up. But if you don't have something like that, don't worry about it. You can actually just chop your vegetables as finely or as big as you want, whatever you prefer for your relish. So I'm going to get started on that, and then I'll be back in a bit to show you the next step.
Go.
I have all of my squash ground up. It's a little more than 8 cups, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. So I'm going to pour that into a bigger bowl and pour in my ground up peppers. And then also my 2 cups of onion. Next, I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of pickling salt and sprinkle this all over and mix it in really well. And I'm going to put this into a strainer with a larger bowl underneath to drain for an hour. So once this is all mixed up, I will dump it into this strainer and just let that sit at room temperature, and then we'll come back for the next step. Approximately an hour has passed since we set the vegetables aside to drain, and this is what they look like now. Not nearly as runny as they were. And this is how much liquid we've gotten off of the vegetables, which is why you don't want to skip that step. The salt causes the juices to drain out a lot more efficiently than they would otherwise. And if you don't do that, you're going to get a really runny relish, which you don't want. So the next step in this process is to mix the brine in the pan. And this brine can be used really for any sweet pickle or relish recipe. So this is a good base for anything that you want to make into a sweet pickle, bread and butter type pickle recipe. And it is just equal parts of sugar and vinegar. So I'm going to pour those into a pan. Just mix that in along with my spices, which are a few teaspoons. I don't know if you can see this very well. A few teaspoons of the pickle spice, up to a tablespoon, and about a tablespoon each of the turmeric, the mustard, and the celery seed. So I'm just going to mix that together and put it on the burner and heat it up until the sugar is dissolved, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, I just rewatched that segment, and I want to correct myself. Do not do a whole tablespoon each of the turmeric, the mustard seed, and the celery seed. It is only a teaspoon. If you do a tablespoon, it's going to be like, ugh, what is that? So it's about 2 to 3 teaspoons of the pickling spice, a teaspoon each of the mustard, the celery seed, and the turmeric. And you can play with those amounts to adjust it to what you like, but I just wanted to make sure that you are aware that it is not a tablespoon. I now have my jar sterilizing in the canner next to me, and I've mixed together my sugar, my vinegar, and my spices. So the next step that I'm going to do is just add these vegetables into the pot, and I'm going to simmer them for about 15 minutes. I'm going to turn this down. Maybe you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully the steam doesn't make it almost impossible. So just very carefully put all your vegetables into the vinegar mix. And you're going to just stir it around and let it continue to boil for about 15 minutes. You definitely want to watch it. You don't want it to get too dry, but we're just meshing the flavors at this point. And when this is done, the jar should be plenty sterilized. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put my lids in a pot of water to sterilize them as well, and then we'll be back. My relish has been in its hot water bath for about 10 minutes now, and I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the jars out to let them cool. As they cool down, you will hear a popping sound when the seals seal. And after they've cooled for several hours at room temperature, they should be good to put in their final storage place, which should be a dry, cool area in your house. If one happens to not seal, go ahead and just stick it in the refrigerator, and it should keep for a couple of months. And that's basically it. It's so easy to make relish. You can use any type of vegetable that you would like. And I'm going to go ahead and put the recipe at the end of this video so you can go off of what it's supposed to be and not what I might have accidentally said during the filming process.